Good afternoon, Real Life Radio listeners, and welcome to your Community Connection Corner here on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380 and 94.9 FM. I'm Jennifer Longworth, joined today by Townsend Miller, Associate Development Coordinator for the Salvation Army in Lexington. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Good. And people are familiar with Salvation Army. They see you ringing the bells, they see your lemonade days, but a lot of people don't realize all that you guys do. So tell us a little bit about Salvation Army.
Sure. The Salvation Army has a very rich history worldwide. We started back in 1865 by a gentleman named William Booth. He was an evangelical preacher at the time, and he thought it was very unfair that those at the time who were able to go to church were mostly wealthy individuals. In that age, you had to buy your own pew to be able to go to church. And
what year did you say this was?
1865, okay. Very long time ago. And so he started to preach on the street corners. This was in England at the time. And he would go and preach to the drunkards. He'd preach to the alcoholics, preach to the druggies. He'd go inside bars, pretty much everywhere. So he could insert the love of Jesus Christ into every individual that wanted to hear it. And so since then, we have spread worldwide. The Salvation Army has been in Lexington for over 100 years now, on and off. As I said, we have a very rich history. Our location now is at 736 West Main Street. We're on the corner of Main Street and Newtown Pike. And we refer to that as our Salvation Army Corps. We have a very unique core in Lexington as compared to others nationwide. All of our services that we offer are right on our campus there. You'll know cities like Louisville or cities like Cincinnati and especially larger cities like New York have services that are spread out across the city, but ours are offered all on one campus.
Well, that kind of makes things a little bit simpler.
It's very wonderful to have our ministry services, to have our social services, to have our children's programs, our homeless shelter all on one area. It's very wonderful to have so we can be as comprehensive as possible. We have a 162-bed homeless shelter where we house single women and families. We are one of the very, very few places, if not the only place in Lexington, where homeless families can come and stay together. There are other homeless locations here in Lexington that are absolutely wonderful, and they offer wonderful services, but most of the time you have to split the families up, and it's usually...
Because there's a women's side and a men's side.
Correct. Yeah. Or even completely separate organizations. I love the Hope Center. I volunteered there. I support it wholeheartedly, but a lot of the times the men and the women have to split up.
Right.
And we want to keep the families together. We want them to go through their struggles together, but we want them to feel their successes together.
Right.
And it's very important in our minds to keep them together. All of our residents meet with a social worker once a week. They're required to do that to get them back on the path to self-sufficiency and self-sustainability. As soon as they come in, they meet more than once a week so we can kind of figure out why they're here. What in your past brought you to the Salvation Army? And we'll go from there to see how we can get them back on their own. Yeah. We also offer 2 licensed child care programs. We have an early learning center that is for children ages 6 weeks all the way up to kindergarten. It is your pretty typical preschool program. We educate the children. They get a lot of social time. They're able to go out on the playground. I absolutely love those children to death. Various times during the day, I'll go back and I'll say, "Oh, Mr. Townsend," hey. and those children really motivate me to do my job. The other child care program that we have is our Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club, and that is for children from kindergarten all the way up through middle school. We even do have a couple high schoolers, but mostly stop after middle school. And that is a twofold program. The summer, it's a full-time program from about 7:30 until about 5 or 5:30 p.m. It's a very neat program. The kids are able to go to pools, they go to parks, they take field trips,
fun.
They go to museums, but they also spend a lot of time inside the Boys and Girls Club. We have 2 volunteers who are teachers from the Fayette County Public School program, and they come in and they catch all the children up on their reading, on their math, on their science. The kids spend time on the computer. They're able to use the Lexia reading program, which is the exact same program that our Fayette County public school system uses. And so it's not just a fun time during the summer. You gotta, and it's not the kids' favorite time, but it's important to keep those kids, educated and to keep their minds fresh during the summer.
And where are these kids from? The community or just from your shelter? Or?
They're from all over the community and including in our shelter. Both of our Early Learning Center and our Boys and Girls Club are completely free to those individuals who live in our shelter. And it's very nice for mom and or dad to be able to bring the kids down to the daycare and they were able to go out and either search for a job, do interviews, go to a job. Maybe they have a part-time or full-time job, so they don't have to worry about their children. They know they're in a safe and educational environment, which is very wonderful. But we also do have families, either low-income or medium-income families from the community who choose to bring their children to the Salvation Army Early Learning Center or Boys and Girls Club. And there's a wide variety of folks who bring their children here. Lawyers, educators, all folks from all around. The Salvation Army, Boys and Girls Club, and Early Learning Center offer great diversity. Me personally, I grew up in a fairly upper middle class, mostly white background. Don't get me wrong, I had many African American friends, and I still do, many of whom are my very best friends, many Hispanic friends. But growing up, I didn't get a lot of that.
Right.
It was mostly into high school and then on into college. And so to kind of insert that amount of diversity into your children's lives, a lot of parents see that as an important factor, and it is in my mind as well.
And you have a music program for the kids too, right?
We do. We offer a couple evening programs that are kind of run through our church. I guess that's one thing I forgot to mention. All Salvation Armies operate as a church. We have a church service every Sunday at 11 o'clock. The individuals that are kind of our executive directors of the Salvation Army, their titles are majors. The Salvation Army is set up very similar to the Army. You go higher in rank the longer that you've been a Salvation Army officer. Our majors, in order to become a major, you have to have been an officer for 15 years. They move around like other officers do. Our majors have been in New York, they've been in New Jersey, they've been in Ohio, so they've been all around, and they've been here in Lexington for almost 10 years now. But our Salvation Army music program operates through our church. We have teach brass mostly, vocal, some stage sometimes, singing. It is really fun. And then we also have two programs for the younger children that usually attend our church, sometimes not. They are similar to a Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts program. We have volunteers who go out and pick those children up from the community. They bring them back to the church. They usually do a unique activity, building a wooden airplane or something like that, and then we do some Bible study together. So both of those programs are absolutely just awesome programs. Those children would likely otherwise be not getting anything like that in their lives. They wouldn't be socializing with other children. They wouldn't have the love of Jesus Christ injected into their lives like their parents want them to, but they're just not able to get them there or don't have the capacity to be able to do so.
About how many kids do you have in these programs? Yeah.
On any given night, we can have between 10 and 25 or so.
Okay.
It kind of all depends on the parents. The children know whenever the Salvation Army bus comes, they got to make sure it's okay with mom and dad. And these children have already registered.
Okay.
We already have their information. We know where they live, so the Salvation Army bus can go and pick them up. But, it's up to mom and dad to be able to make the final decision.
Not so much a drop-in program then.
Correct. And the last program or resource that we offer to the community is our food and clothing bank. It is open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and it's free for anyone in the community who needs to come in and get canned goods, peanut butter, spaghetti, bread. We get lots of donations of bread. We've recently had wonderful groups that donate produce to us.
Oh, that's great.
Everything from apples to peppers, cucumbers, all
it's
things
zucchini
like that.
Tomato time now.
Yes, it is. We get a lot of zucchini and tomato. Our residents have gotten a lot of zucchini and tomato for lunch, which is wonderful, because that allows us to save money and spend it in other programs where it needs to be spent. But Clothing Bank is completely free to anyone in the community who needs to come and use it. There are some restrictions. You can only come once every couple weeks or something like that, but they just look at your ID, and that's really it. I mean, it's really nice, especially during the wintertime when, this past January when it was just frigid. We put a call out to the community that we need coats. We need lots of coats. We need socks. We need toboggans. We need scarves. We need gloves. And our community is as generous as everyone is, just called back to us. And we got thousands of coats. We got thousands of cold weather items, and it was wonderful. And we gave the majority of those away.
Right.
And to all those people who otherwise wouldn't have had a coat, warm pair of socks, something to put over their ears, something to put over their face. And so the Clothing Bank is very important to our community.
And of course, one of my favorite things you offer is the store on the other side of town as well for some of the extra clothes that are donated. It's a nice place to shop for.
Yes, it is. If
like
you're
me.
looking for any discounted clothes, go to the Salvation Army thrift store. It's
on New Circle Road.
It is on New Circle Road, East New Circle Road. I can't remember the specific address right now, but
It's on East New Circle Road. We probably know where it is. Yeah, just drive around and you'll see it eventually.
Yeah, just drive around in the big circle. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Townsend, for giving us a background. And when we come back from the break, we're going to talk about how people can get involved with the Salvation Army here on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380 and 94.9 FM WMJR, Nicholasville, Lexington.